Okay, so we're starting from this point here with our background for our phone, and let's now go to look at this. There's a thin grey square there, which is going to hold all of our icons. So over to the rectangle tool. Now we can set up our colours. We don't want any fill, so if you remember from previously, if you want something to be transparent, that's the transparent button, the white with the red slash through it. And this is the stroke, so we do want to have a colour on the outside, and it's slightly blue, but it's also slightly grey. Let's just go and have a look in here. Now this is how you can use this, is that you can just move this around until you so I want a little tiny hint of blue perhaps. I'll click add to custom colours and click OK. So I can draw this in about the right area. Okay, and you can make it thicker. There's a slider here if you want to make it a little bit thicker. And although we haven't chosen a rounded rectangle, you have got the opportunity to just make the corners round on a square, on an ordinary rectangle, just ever so slightly. So it's a little bit more subtle than using the rounded rectangle tool. Now mine's a little bit more visible than the one on the professionally made one here, so I'm going to use the transparency tool again just to bring that down so it's there but it's not sort of totally in your face. So just you set that up so you're happy with where it is, and nudge it around to get it where you want it. And so pause the video and come back when you've done that. So next I think we'll look at the sort of on-off button. It's obviously a circle, so we click and we have the ellipse tool, which is a circle. Now it's not entirely sure. I probably want a sort of very dark grey, so I might go into here. I don't want it to be quite black, but not much off the black, so I'll add that and see how we get on with that. And I don't want any stroke on this one, so no stroke, no outside colour. And if you hold down shift, you get to actually draw a perfect circle when you do this. Oops, I don't know what happened then. Control Z, or this up here is undo, which is a very useful tool, particularly when you're learning a new piece of software. Oh, I don't know what's happening there. Right, I shall just do it like that. That's fine. Okay, so that's what we have at the moment. It's possibly a little bit big and it's possibly not dark enough, so you can just fiddle around. And this is a very bad program for those of you that are perfectionists, because you're never quite happy with what we've got. Now there we go, that looks alright though. When you see on this one there's clearly another circle over the top, just a sort of half moon. Now there's a number of ways that we can attempt to do that, but none of them are particularly perfect. I suspect that this one here was not made in Fireworks. Right, if I draw my circle out here so you can see, I want to show you some different methods. So here with our white arrow again, do you remember from when we did it with the rectangle, the white arrow allows you to pick up the points on an individual shape. You see if I'm clicking on these white areas, these white dots. So I can pull that down and that will give me a sort of half moon shape, but it's not perfect and it's going to be tricky to get it exactly right. So this is where you have to perhaps put your perfectionist tendencies to one side. So that needs to be slightly lighter, maybe not that light, but we'll see in a minute. And the only way I'm really going to be able to make this fit is if I can move this in like this by changing the sizes, and it's really not perfect at all. So I might give up on that method. Now I'll show you, if you can zoom in, if you use your keyboard, it's Control and plus. That, so you can see much more clearly what you're doing. Okay, Control minus to zoom out. Okay, so I'm really unhappy with that, so I'm going to get rid of that and maybe use a different method. So the other method I could use, of course, is to, instead of having a solid colour, would be to have a gradient. So we'll have a linear again, but this time we definitely don't want it to be black and white. So if we go into the colours, instead of seeing your colour picker, you see the sliders here. So this is, we've got white. So if you click on there, you'll get to your colour picker. So if we go dark grey there, so I've got it's a subtle change, but it is a change. Now with my black arrow, how are we doing? The black arrow gives you this square and a circle. Now this is the direction of the gradient. So if I want it darker at the top and lighter at the bottom, I can bring that down like that, and I think I'll probably be happy with that. Now for the square in the middle, that's a rounded rectangle, so we'll pick up our rounded rectangle tool. I'll say that's going to be no fill, so solid no fill, but with a grey outline, and it's only a small square. Click, let's have a look. It's not bad. I use the arrow keys on the keyboard to move it around. It's okay. I think that's okay. Now I think what I would like to do is to move the whole button, and now it's made up of two parts. Now in order to select two things at the same time, so you could either group it together or move it, you can select it there, hold the shift key down and select the other one. But you'll notice also on your layers panel that you'll see that these two are selected. Okay, so the other way of doing it is actually to hold the shift key down, and to click on the first layer, then hold the shift key down and highlight the other layer. So I'm going to make that into a group, so I can modify and group. You'll see the keyboard shortcut there, Control and G. So that's now become one thing, group two objects. I can double click on there and rename it. It's a very good idea because we have a lot of elements here, and we know what it's called, and we know which one we're at. So I could name all of these. Okay, so that's where I'm going to stop, so you can